Good morning, Muscatine, and happy Tuesday. I hope you all had a wonderful 4th of July. I know it was a little rainy and it was very humid, but seeing the crowd throughout the parade, almost fireworks fest, and then the fireworks show, looks like Muscatine came out and had a wonderful evening. As always, I want to start off by thanking our sponsors. First off, Hy-Vee, Unity Point Health, Trinity Muscatine, Muscatine Power and Water, Becky Insurance, Toyota of Muscatine, Rivo Plumbing and Heating, Impact Fitness and Nutrition, Suntan City, Lutheran Living Senior Campus, Impact Life Blood Center, Harper's Cycling and Fitness, Muscatine County Fair, and Bayer of Muscatine. Today only from 9 to 7, all remaining stock of the fireworks here at the Hy-Vee tent for MCSA is 50% off. Today is the only day to do it from 9 to 7, so be sure to stop by Hy-Vee on 2nd Avenue to purchase with a purpose this year. So the MCSA tent is open till 7 p.m. and then the remaining of this week they will need help with volunteering to break down and to put everything back up into the truck for next year for fireworks. This weekend, the 3rd annual charity show hosted by Hy-Vee is happening. So enjoy music, amazing food, drinks, amazing cars, trucks, bikes, and all of the money that is raised for this event is going to Big Brothers Big Sisters of Muscatine County and the Special Olympics of Muscatine. It is $20 to register, but please be sure to go, help them raise the money, and it can go to 2 amazing communities here in Muscatine. Some terrific Tuesday deals here at Hy-Vee, $1.49 on Chips Ahoy cookies, 99-cent Hy-Vee half-gallon milk, select varieties, and 2 for $3 basket and bushel blackberries. Delicious. So today is a hot day. It is almost 100 and it's going to get even hotter, so be sure you're staying hydrated today. But my 2 guests for today is Paul and Ryan from MPW to talk to us about energy efficiency and rolling blackouts. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning. Good morning.
So tell us a little bit about what you do at MPW.
So I'm the Energy Services Advisor. I work on rebate programs. I work with our customers on ways to save energy, whether that is through energy efficient appliances or just behaviors.
Okay.
I supervise Paul. Make sure everything's going smooth. He's doing a great job.
That's right.
So I heard you are taking the lead.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about how Muscatine can save some money, especially on a hot day like today.
Yeah, so there's lots of opportunities for customers to save electricity on days like today. I think most importantly, when it's this hot, is making sure that doors and windows are well sealed, right? Weather stripping makes a lot of sense. As sun is coming up in the east, making sure your curtains are closed so you're not gaining that radiant heat throughout the morning, and then your air conditioner working harder throughout the day. And then in the evening when that sun is starting to go down, do the same thing on the west side of your home. Make sure curtains are closed, things like that.
Blackout curtains are definitely very helpful.
Yes, and there are certain curtains that are better than others. So the honeycomb style, which look like an accordion from the ends.
Yep.
They have a little dead air space in between each of those honeycombs, and that slows the transfer of heat. So whether it's the heat that's moving into the house from the outdoors or the warm air in the wintertime indoors moving towards the out, it slows that transfer of heat. And so it keeps the conditioned air where we want it longer. And not only the honeycomb style curtains, but the way they are attached to the wall. So the tighter they are against the wall minimizes that convection effect. So warm air obviously is going to rise, which then draws cooler air up towards it. So if we can create a dead air space, essentially, between the window and the curtain, we are slowing down the convection process and therefore reducing the energy loss. So
wow.
The way curtains are installed is important.
I would say we have the honeycombs, and I did not know any of that. So thank you for telling me about those.
Yeah.
What else do you have for us to share? I want to know how is MPW helping Muscatine save energy?
So I'll start with one of the questions I get a lot of times is why would MPW want to help customers use less of its product, essentially? So we obviously provide electricity. Why would we encourage customers to use less of it? Well, there's a lot of benefits. One is the money that stays in your pocket or in your home or your business is beneficial for the entire community. Not only that, Ryan will get into this a little later, but as we save energy here, we have more energy to provide to outside communities, which is a financial benefit to Muscatine in that we sell it outside of our community. That helps keep our rates lower in Muscatine. So there are some financial advantages to saving energy, but more importantly is reducing the amount of expense to a customer each month.
Yeah.
And so improving comfort and saving money.
Yeah, you're not going to tell people, hey, crank up that AC, keep it going, open up those windows, then make the current come in.
Yeah.
Your job is to help the community, and now because you're helping the community, now you're helping others around it.
Yeah, exactly. And so we encourage people to call us. We offer a free energy inspection. So I go to customers' homes, look for ways that they can save energy. We start with the low-hanging fruit, the things that are going to cost the least, such as something as simple as sealing doors, making sure that we don't have gaps in airflow. The next would be, what kind of lighting do you use? Is it still the old incandescent lights that use a lot of energy, give off a lot of heat, waste a lot of electricity? Or do you have LED lights? And if you don't have LED lights, we have a program where every month you can come in and get 2 free LEDs just by bringing in 2 old incandescent lights.
Oh, wow.
So you can slowly and free replace your lights within your home.
Okay.
If you choose to buy LED lights at the store, we offer a 50% rebate up to a certain cap per light bulb. So I think it's $10 per light bulb. So most LEDs are well within that range. So it's a 50% reduction on the cost of your LED lights if you choose a different wattage or a different color, temperature, things like that. So,
Okay.
So those are the things that we look for first. Then we talk about curtains, the direction of your ceiling fan. A lot of people don't know direction, or the ceiling fan will spin in different directions. So in the summertime, we want those blades angled down towards the floor and spinning in that direction so that it creates airflow across the skin, and that gives us a cooling effect. They say that ceiling fans will allow you to feel as comfortable if you have them running and you increase your air conditioning temperature by 4 degrees. So we can increase the temperature inside of the home, remain just as comfortable with that airflow across the skin.
Okay.
And ceiling fans are going to be much less energy intensive than your air conditioning unit. In the wintertime, we don't want that cooling effect on our skin, right?
Yep.
It gives us that wind chill effect. So you switch the direction of the blade or the fan, so that again we're now going this direction, pulling air up towards the ceiling. It then washes the walls and it moves air, the warm air that's in the ceiling, it moves it around the home, so it keeps the warm air where we are living, where we're going to be occupying that space longer. So. So there's things we can do with ceiling fans. Drips in faucets. So again, kind of looking around, using my eyes and ears, and just talking to customers on things that they may just not think about on a day-to-day basis, right? We go through our homes and we don't think of the things that I might see, or
You're talking about the ceiling fan, and in my head, normally I get cold so easily. So especially during the springtime, I would even turn the fireplace on, and Scott looks at me saying, "Why is this on?" And I'm maybe thinking, is my ceiling fan maybe going the wrong way then? So I'm constantly cold, and I'm not actually reversing it. So that was my brain, just a little hamster spinning wheel.
Yeah, so no, it's very common. And I will give one word of advice: dust your ceiling fans.
Yes, yes.
So as soon as you turn them the other way, it will look like it's snowing if you don't dust them prior
Especially if
to
you have
switching.
pets. So I have a
And if
cat
you
and a
have
dog.
pets,
So
yes,
yeah,
yes,
I will clean those first.
that's right.
I will give you a testimonial, Paul. I'm guilty of keeping my house pretty cool. Yeah, especially it's a 2-story house. You know, the second story never gets quite as cool as the downstairs. But since I have been using my ceiling fans more, I have been able to get my thermostat up to about 75 and stay pretty comfortable. And it really does make a difference running those fans.
Yeah, yeah, it certainly does, and I don't think we realize it, that air movement helps us stay cooler, and it is. It's just that simple airflow across the skin removes the heat that we are dissipating and makes us feel cooler. So yeah, that's a simple thing that customers can do to save on their electric bill. Again, kind of walking through the homes, looking for electronics that never get used, right? So spare bedrooms, basement, TVs, things like that that never get used. If it has a remote, it's consuming energy all the time. So those phantom loads, or you might hear them called vampire loads, they're using energy all day, all night long. Unplugging those or putting them on a power strip, shutting them off, and then at Thanksgiving or Christmas, when you have family gatherings and you want to watch TV in the basement, you turn it on. Simple things like that, just to reduce that wasted energy that is doing us no good. So again, VCRs and DVD players and stereos that just don't get used. We look for second refrigerators and freezers. Oftentimes they're in the garage, which you can imagine on a day like today, really hot, really humid. That old refrigerator, which is typically the one that was in your kitchen and now it gets moved to the garage, consumes more energy. And then when it's in an unconditioned space like our garages, it has to work even that much harder. So we just forget about those things. And if we don't need them, or if it's something that we, again, use occasionally, unplug it when we're not using it, plug it in when we do maybe have a party or guests coming over for an event. But try to minimize, again, unneeded appliances.
Now I'm going through my head again, like what unneeded appliances are plugged into my house right now, and all I can think about is we have like those Echoes, we have a couple Alexas. I almost said just A because she's so sensitive she can hear from any room.
Right.
And I'm thinking, okay, how often do I really use those? Do I want to keep those plugged in? Do I need her to continuously listen to me 24/7? Probably not.
Right.
So yeah, now I'm just thinking like every room now. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's true. I've got a lamp, or I've got a coffee maker that I probably should be using more often than getting my morning drinks.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just very neat to think about. Even though they're off, they're technically still using energy.
So yeah, and one way to know is if obviously it has a blinking light or a clock on it. Lamps, things like that, are not using energy when they're off, so those aren't ones that I would be too worried about. But if it has a remote, if it has the power box or the block that you plug in, so our phone chargers, our laptops, if those things are plugged in 24/7, they're using energy all the time. So it's pretty easy to unplug those from the wall when we're not charging or not needing to charge our devices.
So charging devices, speaking of that, how common, obviously people when they go to bed, they charge it, and majority of the time it's at 100%, probably midway while they're sleeping. Is it easy just to tell people, charge when needed, not necessarily overnight?
Right. So I will say that the amount of energy that these devices consume is very small. So you're probably not going to see a huge difference, if any, on your electric bill. What I like to tell people is if everyone in the community or everyone in Iowa, everyone in the United States would unplug all of our unused or chargers collectively, that has a huge impact on the amount of energy that is being wasted nationwide. So it is good practice for all of us to just unplug things as we can. Now, if you forget about it, or if it's under the bed, it's a hassle, it's not consuming a lot of energy. But if you're looking for every way to save, that's one more way.
And you mentioned the power strips. We use power strips quite often, so I like the idea of just being able to, the simplicity of just flipping the switch, then it's all done.
Yep, and that kills the power. So yeah. So there are lots of opportunities. Again, as I'm walking through homes, things that I look for, or things that the homeowner could be doing as well. We all like to think that our homes are really clean, but in the basement, if you find cobwebs or spider webs in areas and they've kind of collected in one area, there's a chance that there is airflow in that area, because a spider is going to put its web where it thinks other bugs are coming in. It also is an opportunity for it to get outside or inside, depending on the weather. And so if we find areas where we have cobwebs, look for those cobwebs to be fluttering in a breeze. That's air moving into our homes. Caulk those up, try to seal them, and eventually not only do we stop the air infiltration, but we reduce the amount of spiders and bugs in our homes. So those are some things to look for, when you're walking around your house. Dryer vents are always a leaky spot. They obviously go out to the exterior of the house. They usually have a cover on them, but they aren't sealed. So if we can seal around the dryer vent, that's going to help minimize how much air gets into the home. Air conditioning lines, same thing. Refrigerant lines going out to the house, usually there's a hole drilled in your band joist. Those refrigerant lines are going out, you can see airflow or air light around those refrigerant lines. So sealing up anywhere that you can see light is going to minimize that transfer of conditioned air. Again, whether it's cold winter air or the warm air that's in your house when it's cold outside is going to move towards the cold outdoor air. Same, if it's cold in your home with air conditioning, that warm, moist air is going to move into your home. So,
okay, I'm going to schedule an appointment with you here, and you're just
absolutely.
going to walk through my house again to make sure.
Yes, absolutely, I'd be happy to.
Yeah, it's just neat. You don't think about the smallest thing that could have like a long-term effect on your home, just the simplicity of the dryer. I'm thinking, okay, where is that outside of my house? Have I looked at that? Like, you don't think about those things when you're a homeowner, because they're so small, but yet they can cause such a long-term effect.
Right. And the other thing is, from a safety perspective, it's also a good idea to put your eyes on it. Just make sure there's not lint built up. That's going to reduce the efficiency of your dryer. If your dryer vent is clogged or filling up, not only is it making your dryer work harder, it can be a fire hazard. So, you're kind of killing two birds with one stone this way. And then if that flapper on the outside of your home is open all the time, again, we're getting airflow into the home through the dryer. We also have a potential of getting bird nesting and things like that in there, which again creates a fire hazard, reduces the efficiency of your dryer. So
I have heard that a couple times, that people have had bird nests within their dryer vents.
Yeah, so cleaning those out, that flapper should lay flat so airflow can't go in, also keeps critters out.
There you go.
Things like planting trees, right? Planting trees on the east side of our homes and on the west sides of our homes. The deciduous trees that grow leaves, that have the leaves in the summertime, shades our homes. That's kind of the best natural air conditioning that we can do to our home. On the north side of the home, evergreen trees that help block those cold winter winds is going to help reduce air infiltration, wasted energy, improve comfort, things of that nature. So lots of things that we can look at, again, from no cost to more expensive measures that somebody might be looking at. Windows is always one that people want to talk about. And I would say windows are a hard payback from an energy savings perspective. But if you're able to open your new windows, get fresh air through the home, that's different than if you have windows that are older but still operable, and they have maybe a single pane with a storm window. We're creating that dead air space, just like we talked about with curtains. So creating that dead air space between panes of glass is really what is insulating those windows. So new windows, again, it depends on what you're looking for in your home. Sometimes cleaning windows is challenging with older windows, so new windows make sense. You're also going to get some energy savings from those, so there is some benefit there. It just takes a while for those payback. whereas replacing light bulbs is kind of a no-brainer, low-hanging fruit, quick and easy. Install them where you use them the most. Obviously, a bathroom is going to be used more than a closet.
Yep.
Dining room is going to be used, more than maybe a downstairs spare bedroom. So changing those lights in those rooms that get used the most, and then start working through the house with free LEDs if you need them.
Yeah,
So,
I was about to ask, can you just repeat again about you said the monthly LED?
yeah, so every month customers can come in, bring in 2 incandescent light bulbs from your home. We'll give you 2 9-watt LEDs, and then you can do that every month.
Perfect. So what do you do with the lights that they bring in then?
So those we throw away.
Just toss
So
them? Okay.
yep, we ask that customers not bring in the curly CFLs.
Okay.
Those do contain mercury, and they are fairly inefficient, or they're fairly efficient. So there's not a lot of savings between the curly CFL and the LED, but the LED is an instant on. It gives better light quality. There's no mercury in it. So if you are replacing your CFLs, take those to the transfer station or dispose of them properly so that mercury doesn't end up in the ground or in the landfills.
Okay, so don't put it in your trash can.
Don't just throw them away.
Take it to transfer.
Yeah, and yeah, we don't take those, again, for safety reasons.
Got it. Well, there we go. I love learning. So tell us then a little bit about the reducing rollout.
Oh, all right. It's one of my favorite
He's like,
topics.
wait, I'm on the spotlight now.
One of my favorite topics this year that popped up we didn't used to have to worry about. We've had a lot of questions about rolling blackouts, basically because of the headlines it's getting. I mean, this is something happened a couple years ago down south and maybe to the west of us, but we just haven't heard about rolling blackouts forever around here. This year, there's a capacity auction that ensures everyone has enough energy. And I'm not going to get into the details of that, but a couple new terms along with rolling blackouts. MISO. MISO is the Mid-Continent Independent System Operator, and they are the RTO for our area, which is the Regional Transmission Organization. So there's a couple new acronyms, MISO and RTO. So when we talk about rolling blackouts, it's not a Muscatine power and water problem per se. It's really a regional problem. We've done everything we need to do with long-term planning. We've even delayed now the retirements of some of our coal-fired units to put more energy into the electric grid. But it's really a regional problem, and it's out of our control. But as part of that regional entity, we're all in the same boat. So when things get out of balance, and we've got a slide here coming up that shows load shed, the last resort measure, it really is showing that balance of supply and demand. And if it gets too far out of kilter, we have to take some steps to get things back in balance again. And if energy efficiency measures don't do it, today, like you mentioned, is really a perfect storm. We've got 100-degree weather. We've got a flag across the street that's barely moving in the wind, so we're not going to be getting a lot of production out of the windmills in Iowa. And so we're going to be compromised as far as how much energy is available. And when it just hits a spot where the demand is too great, we have to do something. And that last resort will be MISO issuing a load shed order, which is, we don't know what it'll be. It could be 2%, 3% of our system load. And they make the call, and every entity that's in MISO will drop load. And what that does is it immediately balances the scales again with supply and demand. There's a couple ways to make energy. I never thought about it like this before until I got into this position. But you can add more generator to the mix, or you can just remove load. It has the same effect. And at this point, if we would get to this stage, every generator's online, every load shed measure or every energy efficiency measure has been taken. We've made public appeals to reduce your energy use. And now we're at that point where we are really we have to prevent a real blackout. So we use what we call a rolling blackout.
Okay.
So how the rolling part of this works is when we shed the load, it may be 2-3%, but we don't want to burden any part of town with that for an extended period of time. The mission is to keep houses comfortable and refrigerators cold. So after an hour, our plan would be to then take out that next block of power and then restore the first block. So we're always keeping our load under that MISO mandated limit, but we're sharing the burden throughout the city. And hopefully it never happens.
Right.
People come up to me all the time, what are the odds? I don't know. It's not a local problem. It's not something that we have a whole lot of insight into. We can see the reports from MISO, and MISO has got some great apps out there for your phone where anybody can log in and see how the load is and how the generation mix is set for the day. But it really comes down to these are well-planned procedures that are in place. We drill, we practice on these hundreds of times, and if it comes to this, we're ready to have a very controlled, managed event instead of just chaos. I feel like rolling blackouts always, it's like, oh no, the sky is falling, but it's just a very controlled measure. It's no different than if a squirrel would get into a line and you lose power for an hour, except we're going to guarantee it's back on shortly within that hour, because we don't want to have undue burden on any part of the city.
I would say I've never really heard of the term rolling blackout, to be honest, until just yesterday when I was reading this. And I'm not born and raised in Muscatine, but has a blackout ever occurred like this before?
No.
Okay.
The biggest blackout I can remember was in the Northeast in 2003. And when that blackout happened, it was a cascading event. I think they lost some transmission lines, so that overburdens other transmission lines, and they just continued to trip. I think they were out for 4 days in parts of that area trying to get power restored. So when we look at these events where it's an hour, and then this part of town for an hour, this part of town, that's much more sustainable than if we actually go black and have to try to restart generators, because it takes power to start electric generators too. So you have to wait for black start units to be able to fire up. So this, I hope this never happens, but we're ready. And we're going to handle it efficiently and get through it as quickly as possible.
And what are some of the ways that Muscatine can prevent kind of this scenario happening? What are ways that they can prepare and reduce the amount of energy that they're providing within a day?
It's a great question, and really it's all those things Paul just talked about. But if you actually get into a situation where your power's down, and again, it should only be for roughly an hour, stay out of the fridge. Don't open that door, because that's going to let all that cold air out. If your curtains aren't all closed, do those things to keep your house cool. And hopefully within an hour we'll be right back on, and it won't be that big of a burden, hopefully. We see the most prime time for this to happen to be like around noon, 1 o'clock. That's when your heat's at the highest, everything's up and running, and when night comes and it cools off, that's going to naturally solve the problem, because those air conditioners aren't going to be running. It's going to lower that load. So between maybe noon and 6 or 7, that's that prime time. But we haven't had it yet. There's only about 10 weeks of summer left, or really high heat left. So who knows, it may not even be an issue, but we're ready for it. And the best thing to do is just educate the public, let them know what's coming, so there's no cause for alarm.
Besides last night being so humid, normally in the evening I like to crack open the windows just to get a little airflow.
Sure.
But sometimes Mother Nature doesn't give us that option, especially if there is no wind, or it was like yesterday, just sticky and no one wanted to be outside, but we all were able to manage through it with 4th of July. So Paul, what is the best way that someone says, hey, I would like you to come out, take a look at my house, tell me what maybe the good, the bads, and what can be fixed now and what's long term? What's the best way people can get an appointment scheduled with you?
So yeah, you can call me directly. My number 563-262-3423, and we might have that phone number on here. If not, you can call out to MPW, just ask for me. We'll get an energy audit scheduled. What I like to do first is, if you've been in your home for a while, I'll pull up the history of your electrical usage, kind of see where you're at in comparison with other homes. Obviously, every home is going to be different based on size, the number of people living there, but overall, what is your pattern of usage, and how can we reduce that? So yeah, give me a call MPW, we'll get one scheduled, come out and do the energy audit.
Price? Free?
Free, yes.
There we go. Everyone's four-letter favorite word.
That's right.
Free.
It's free, and we encourage you to do that.
And what are some things as we wrap up that you really want to make sure that the community knows about, and make sure that if there's one thing that, out of this, keep this in mind during the summertime?
I actually have a takeaway written down. I don't want to goof it up. So the takeaway is here, everyone can help maintain the integrity, the power grid, and lower utility bills by making a few modest actions.
Yeah, I think we're all in this together. We all have a role to play. If we can reduce our wasted energy, not saying energy that you need, or our refrigerators are important, obviously. But if we can reduce the light energy consumption by changing out light bulbs, shutting lights off, the best energy is the energy you don't use, right? Or the cheapest energy is the energy you don't use. So shutting things off, doing your part, even if it's as simple as unplugging your cell phone charger, it's not going to make a huge impact in your home, but collectively, as the nation works through blackouts and rolling blackouts, it does have an impact. So take those little steps as much as you can, and yeah, help reduce those chances.
You mentioning all this, I remember growing up, my dad would always tell me, I was so guilty of just opening the fridge, looking in it, saying, what do I want? I'd always hear him, close the fridge. Okay, sorry. I forget to switch a light off. It's like, why? Is there anyone in there? No. Why is the light still on? And now being a homeowner, those constant things run through my head now of saying, make sure you just turn those lights off. Open the fridge, grab what you need, close it right away. Don't leave it hanging open. So I always tell my dad, thank you for giving me those. Your little voice is in my head constantly now.
I'll say this as a parent. When those lights are left on, but they're LEDs, it doesn't hurt you quite so bad.
Yeah.
You feel a little better about it.
That's right.
Yeah. Now with the LEDs compared to 20 years ago, it makes a huge difference. So I appreciate you both coming out here, telling us, how we can save not only just within our house, but also how it can impact and put into our community and now other communities. You have the free light bulbs once a month, free walk home or walk
Energy audit. Yep.
Energy audits.
Yep.
I was going to mess up that name.
Yeah, no.
So I appreciate you both coming out, telling us about this and how we can prepare for potential rollouts as well. So thank you so much, gentlemen.
Yeah, thanks
and
for
especially
having us.
Stay cool today, please.
That's right.
Stay plenty hydrated.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, Muscatine, you've learned a lot. You know that you can now get some free lights, also get some energy efficiency done within your household, and make sure that you are staying plenty hydrated today, so have all the water that you possibly can with you. I have mine, we're ready to go, and we're going to take on this potential 100-degree weather. Until then, I will see you later, and stay happy and stay healthy, Muscatine.
Hi, I'm TJ Deere, General Manager here at Toyota of Muscatine.
Hi, I'm Megan and I'm from Muscatine.
My name is Logan and I'm from Muscatine.
Here at Toyota Muscatine, we believe in investing in our community.
And that's why all our members are local to the Muscatine area.
It's why we give generously to charities based in our city.
Because we believe that giving back means paying it forward.
That's why an investment in us is an investment in our community.